I saw a great film, this or that one, and it changed my life. Now what actually changed my perception.
Werner Herzog doesn't watch movies like normal people. He watches them like a madman looking for God.
I enjoy everything that has to do with cinema, and that means writing, directing, editing, producing.
For 60 years, he's dragged cameras up mountains, into jungles, and across deserts. He's hypnotized actors. He's eaten his own shoe. He's made films that feel like fever dreams.
And then it would be good.
It would be good to get out.
Yeah, but then you would already walk down.
But what does Herzog love? What films move a man who refuses to be moved? What stories inspire someone who believes cinema should be a battleground, not entertainment? His favorite films aren't comfortable. They're not safe, and they reveal a mind that sees the world differently than anyone else alive. Herzog doesn't admire technique. He admires obsession. He doesn't love beauty. He loves truth, even when it's ugly. These 10 films shape the most fearless filmmaker on earth. Some are silent, some are forgotten. One involves a ship dragged over a mountain, and all of them explain why Herzog makes films the way no one else dares. This is what Werner Herzog watches when he needs to remember why cinema matters. 10. Nosferatu, 1922. Herzog didn't just love this film, he remade it.
Murnau stole from him and had trouble with. That's why he had to name it Nosferatu.
Murnau's Nosferatu is silent, German, and terrifying. A vampire rises from his coffin. A plague spreads through a town. Death moves slowly, inevitably, beautifully. No jump scares, just dread. What Herzog saw in Murnau was purity, cinema before it learned to talk, before it learned to explain, just images, shadows, and fear. The vampire isn't a monster. He's loneliness given form. He's death that wants to be touched. This film haunted Herzog his entire life. In 1979, he made his own version with Klaus Kinski. Not a copy, a conversation. He wanted to prove that Murnau's vision still mattered, that silent cinema understood something modern films forgot. Murnau taught Herzog that cinema doesn't need words. It needs images that burn into your brain. Rats flooding streets, a shadow climbing stairs, a face that looks like death itself. That's not horror, that's poetry, and Herzog spent his life chasing that same dark beauty. 9. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. Herzog calls this the only science fiction film that matters.
Film culture, so it was more the generation of the grandfathers that was important for us, or in particular for me.
Kubrick's 2001 is slow, strange, and silent. Apes discover tools. Astronauts travel to Jupiter. A computer goes insane. And at the end, something happens that no one fully understands. Most directors hated how slow it was. Herzog loved it for exactly that reason. Kubrick had the courage to let space be empty, to let time pass, to show that the universe doesn't care about your story. It just exists, cold and infinite. This changed how Herzog thought about cinema. You don't need to entertain. You don't need to explain. You can show people something beyond understanding and trust them to feel it. The monolith, the Stargate, the final shot of the Star Child. These aren't plot points, they're religious experiences. Kubrick proved that cinema could reach for the sublime, that it could ask questions bigger than humans. Herzog never forgot that. Every time he points his camera at a volcano or a desert, he's chasing what Kubrick found in space: silence, mystery, awe. 8. Grizzly Man, 2005. Yes, his own film, Herzog doesn't hide from this. When people ask about films that changed him, he mentions Grizzly Man.
He says we have to be like the fly on the wall. Wrong. As documentary filmmakers, you should not be the fly on the wall.
Not because he's arrogant, because he knows what he captured. Something true, something unbearable.
Creatures were filmed by Timothy Treadwell, who lived among wild grizzlies for 13 summers.
Timothy Treadwell lived with grizzly bears in Alaska for 13 summers. He filmed himself. He talked to the bears like friends, and then they killed him. Herzog took that footage and made a film about obsession, delusion, and the indifference of nature. What makes Herzog include his own work? Simple. He finally made the film he'd been trying to make his whole life. A film about a man who loved nature and nature that didn't love him back. About the thin line between passion and madness. About how the wild doesn't care if you worship it. This is Herzog's philosophy in 90 minutes. Nature is not your mother. Animals are not your friends. And the most dangerous thing a human can do is forget that. He watches his own film and sees the truth he's been screaming forever. That's why it's here. 7. The Great Silence. 1968. Most Westerns are about heroes. The Great Silence is about snow, silence, and death.
Tragic misunderstanding, philosophical misunderstanding of what wild nature is all about.
A mute gunfighter arrives in a frozen town. Bounty hunters hunt poor people for money. The hero tries to help, and then, in the final minutes, everyone dies. No happy ending, just cold. Herzog loves this film because it refuses to lie. Corbucci made a Western with no hope. The bad guys win. The innocent freeze. Justice doesn't come. It's brutal, honest, and beautiful. The snow covers everything like a blanket over corpses. This is what Herzog believes cinema should do. Show the world as it is, not as we want it to be. Nature is cruel. People are cruel. And sometimes the hero dies in the snow and nothing changes. The Great Silence taught him that endings don't need to be satisfying. They need to be true. When Herzog made Aguirre, The Wrath of God, years later, you could feel Corbucci's coldness in every frame. The jungle doesn't care, the river doesn't care, and neither does the camera. 6. The Enigma of Caspar Hauser, 1974. Herzog again, because some films stay with you. The Enigma of Caspar Hauser tells the true story of a boy who appeared in Germany in 1828. He'd been locked in a basement his whole life. No language, no understanding. Just a child seeing the world for the first time. Herzog cast Bruno S., a street musician who'd spent years in institutions. Not an actor, a man who knew what it felt like to be broken by the world. And Bruno gave one of the most heartbreaking performances ever filmed. Not acting, just existing. This film is Herzog asking one question: who are we without society? What is human without civilization? Caspar learns to speak, but he never learns to lie. He sees the world clearly, and it destroys him. Herzog includes this because it's the purest thing he's ever made. No special effects, no big budget, just a camera watching a man discover what it means to be alive. And then watching the world teach him cruelty. That's cinema. That's true. That's why it matters. 5. Aguirre, The Wrath of God, 1972. 3 of his own films now, and he doesn't apologize. Aguirre is the film that made Herzog Herzog. Spanish conquistadors search for El Dorado in the Amazon. Their raft falls apart. The jungle kills them one by one, and their leader, Aguirre, goes completely insane. Klaus Kinski plays Aguirre like a demon, wild-eyed, limping, screaming at God. The final shot is unforgettable. Aguirre alone on a raft covered with dead monkeys, spinning in circles, declaring himself the wrath of God. It's madness. It's poetry. It's perfect. Herzog shot this in the Peruvian jungle with no permits, no safety, and a crew that hated him. Kinski threatened to kill him. The raft almost sank. People got sick, and somehow that chaos made the film better. You can feel the danger in every frame. This is Herzog's masterpiece, and he knows it. When he watches Aguirre, he sees everything he believes. That nature will kill you. That ambition is insanity. That man is small, and the jungle is infinite. He dragged a camera into hell and filmed the truth. Every filmmaker has one film where everything clicks, where the madness and the vision become the same thing. For Herzog, it's Aguirre. He made other great films. But this one? This one is immortal, and he's not humble enough to pretend otherwise. 4. Stroszek, 1977. 4 now. 4 of his own films in his top 10. And you know what? He's earned it. Stroszek is about 3 misfits who leave Germany for America. Bruno S. plays a street musician just out of prison. They think America will save them. It destroys them instead. The film ends with Bruno robbing a bank, releasing animals from a petting zoo, and sitting on a ski lift, going nowhere. A frozen turkey dances on a coin-operated machine. It's absurd. It's tragic. It's the American dream dying in a Wisconsin parking lot. Herzog made this film in 3 weeks. No script. Just Bruno improvising his way through heartbreak. When the film premiered, critics called it one of the saddest films ever made. Herzog called it honest. This is why he includes it. Because Stroszek shows what most films hide. Those dreams don't come true. That hope is a trap. That the world chews up gentle people and spits them out. It's brutal. It's beautiful. And it's everything Herzog believes about being human. 3. La Soufrière, 1977. 5 of his own films. At this point, you either understand Herzog or you don't. La Soufrière is 30 minutes long. A volcano in Guadeloupe is about to erupt. Everyone evacuates. Herzog hears that one man refused to leave, so he grabs a camera and flies into the disaster zone. This isn't a documentary, it's a suicide mission. Herzog walks through an abandoned city waiting to explode. Ash falls, the ground shakes, and he finds the man, an old farmer sitting calmly, waiting to die. Herzog asks him why. The man shrugs. I'm waiting for death. This film is 10 minutes of conversation and 20 minutes of walking through the end of the world. The volcano never erupts. Herzog leaves. The man survives. Nothing happens. And yet it's one of the most powerful things Herzog ever made. Why include it? Because it's pure. A man and a camera walking toward death to ask a question. No budget, no crew, no plan, just curiosity and madness. That's Herzog's entire philosophy. Cinema as confrontation with the abyss. 2. Fitzcarraldo, 1982. 6 of his own films now, and the most insane one of all. Fitzcarraldo is about a man who wants to build an opera house in the Amazon. To get there, he has to move a steamship over a mountain. So Herzog did it. He actually dragged a 320-ton steamship over a mountain. No special effects, no models, real. What you see on screen is real. That ship really went up that mountain. Those ropes really snapped. Those people really risked their lives. Herzog didn't fake it because faking it would be lying, and Herzog doesn't lie. Not about madness. This is why Fitzcarraldo is here, because it's the ultimate Herzog film. A beautiful, impossible dream achieved through suffering. Kinski stands on the deck playing opera music while the jungle tries to kill him. That's not a metaphor. That's Herzog's entire life. He includes it because he knows what he did. He made a film about obsession by becoming obsessed. He made a film about moving a mountain by moving a mountain. It's madness and genius in the same frame, and no one will ever do it again. 1. Lessons of Darkness, 1992. 7 of his 10 favorite films are his own. This is either insane or honest. With Herzog, it's both. Lessons of Darkness is about the Kuwait oil fires after the Gulf War. Saddam Hussein's troops set fire to oil fields. Black smoke filled the sky. The earth burned. Herzog flew there with a camera. What he filmed doesn't look like Earth. It looks like another planet. Hell made visible. Fires the size of cities. Men in silver suits walking through flames. Smoke blacking out the sun. No interviews. No explanation. Just apocalypse. He includes this because it's the closest he's ever come to filming the truth. Not human truth, universal truth. That destruction is beautiful. That the end of the world has its own terrible grace. That cinema should show you things you cannot unsee. 7 of his own films in his top 10. Most directors would be embarrassed. Herzog isn't, because he knows what he's made. Films that don't comfort. Films that don't lie. Films that stare into the void and don't blink. That's why they're here. 7 of his own films. 3 others he respects. Herzog doesn't make lists to be humble. He makes them tell the truth. These aren't just favorites. They're proof that cinema should be dangerous, honest, and unforgettable. Which one will haunt you first? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe for more fearless deep dives into the films that changed everything.